Can you ask? You can text
No,
it.
it's fine.
It's fine. Okay. And we are live. We are live, live. Yes. Welcome to Tuesday Talk, everyone. We are here and we are live. And I'm so excited for tonight. Tonight, we are going to learn a tool that is effective for all of us. We just went live on YouTube.
Mm.
Yes, Ank my aunt, Sanette Cheryl. Sanette Cheryl is a member of the Shrine. So she's going to be in the chat with us and having a good time. I'm excited to have you here. I've
I'm
got,
excited to be here. I'm so excited. Been looking forward to this for a while.
me too, me too.
Yes,
Yes.
very. Yes. Can I be heard well?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
You were
okay. Beautiful.
born,
Beautiful.
born for the camera.
All right. Awesome. Awesome.
You are camera ready. We're live on Facebook, on Shrine of My Aunt Facebook. So that's good. That's good. We got people coming in. Come on in, people.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So, how's your day been? How you doing?
Today, Tuesdays, I always am like, today is Tuesday Talk Tuesday. Like Tuesdays are Tuesday Talk. So I just make sure that my space is right. I set up
Mm-hmm.
early. I get everything, and I get ready. I feel like a rapper. I was quick story before we get started. I worked in. I'm gonna be very vague on purpose. Very vague. I worked in Midtown Manhattan, right? And I met this hip hop artist who everybody knows him.
Yeah.
And so we went, he and some of his group and friends and I went to the studio and I heard him lay a track. I was like, this is so dope, right?
Okay, before you go any further, was it anybody that you posted on your page? Because I seen a picture of you with
It,
Brand Nubian. Was
it
it
wasn't brand new,
okay.
it wasn't Lord Jamar Grand
Okay,
Poobah,
okay.
although meeting them was dope.
Okay.
Yeah, I met them. A friend of mine throws parties in Connecticut, and he was like, "Yeah, you want to come by? Brand Nubian will be there." I'm like, "What kind of question is that?"
Right. What kind of question is that?
Like, are you serious? Do you want to be in VIP at a club that he's throwing? My homie with Brand Nubian and DJ Kid Capri. Of course, I'm there. DJ
Oh
Kid Capri was there.
no.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
DJ Kid Capri.
Kid Capri. Okay, we are off topic.
I know,
I'll
I'm
send you some
sorry.
pictures afterwards. Anyway, okay. Welcome to Tuesday Talk, y'all. You just caught Sister Colette and I really having just a real like genuine conversation. But anyway,
Yes.
so welcome to Tuesday Talk, and tonight we are going to be talking about canning and the importance of canning. Now, there are a few reasons why we should be canning. There is this doom and gloom of a food shortage that could be happening. And, even when there is no food shortage, there's an abundance of unhealthy food and unhealthy food options. And our healthy food options are expensive. And then on top of that, there is a just web of confusion to,
Mm.
and understanding what is healthy, what is not healthy, what you should be doing and what you should not be doing.
Mm.
Before I even became, initiated into the shrine of my aunt, I was living a healthy lifestyle. Luckily, I was born to a mother who cooked all of my meals healthy. Most of it was vegetarian. We did eat,
Mm.
but most of it was vegetarian. And if I wanted pizza on Saturday, I had to start harassing her on Wednesday. I had to, okay? So,
Right.
it's easier for some people if you've grown up in an environment in a home where healthy food was the way that you ate.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a different time. We have a different family
Yes.
structure, different community structure, different availability of food. Meat used to be expensive and vegetables were cheap, and now it's the other way around.
Right.
Vegetables are expensive and meat is cheap.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
what are we gonna do about that? And especially as Black people, we have to make sure that we have the things that we need and that we're independent. Okay. So even though you caught Sister Colette and me having a good old conversation, I'm going to read you her bio so we know who she is. Okay. So, Sister Colette is a registered believer of the Nation of Islam. The women and girls, referred to as MGT, which stands for Muslim Girl in Training of the Nation of Islam, have 7 training units, and one of them is cooking.
Mhm.
In the cooking class, she learned the skill of canning as instructed by head of our class, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Over time, she has taken what she's learned and has become an aspiring entrepreneur, teaching food preservation in a relatable way using the home canning method. She currently owns and operates her own business, Canning with Colette, and uses various social media platforms to reach and teach the masses on the importance of learning and practicing the skill in an effort to establish food security in our homes to get through these uncertain times that we're living in now. Over the last year, she's taught hundreds of individuals virtually, kitchen to kitchen, and reached thousands on her various social media platforms. Her passion and goal is to remove the fear, anxiety, apprehension, and procrastination that many of us have when it comes to learning and practicing this necessary skill. So, without
Mhm.
further ado, I'd like to introduce Sister Colette. Yay! Round of applause, everybody.
So excited to be here. Thank you for that bio. Thank you for that. So excited. It's a definite pleasure, honor to be here. I've been looking forward to it for a while. I, love and respect everything that you're doing on your platforms. I'm loving it.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
anytime I get to be in the presence and share the same energy and space with another sister, it is just invaluable. So I'm so excited about this.
Yes, I feel the same way. I was scrolling through Instagram, right? And once you like certain types of pages, other pages like that pop up. So,
Yes,
I'm
yes.
scrolling through and there's so many things I want to do. And it's just like, oh my goodness, get your ducks in a row and do them. And I had always been thinking, not always, but more recently in my life, I had been thinking about canning. And so Canning with Colette came up, and I'm like, oh my God, they've been planting a chip in my brain. I was just thinking this, and now I see Sister Colette, like, what is this?
Right, right.
Getting past that, I looked at her page and her IG page and watched it a couple of times, and the information that she has is very informative. And I was
Mm.
like, she's got to be on the show because it's in line
Mhm.
with what it is that we do. So,
Mm.
Sister Colette, before we jump into the canning process and learning in your business and things like that, can you share a little bit about your spiritual or religious background?
Yes, why not? Why not? So let's see here. So I grew up, I would say of the Christian faith,
Hmm.
come from a Christian background. But my mother in particular was not now she definitely was her mom, my grandmother, they were pretty rigid and strict, but when it came to my mom raising us. I'm a first child, so out of 3 daughters. So I was the oldest for a while before she had her second. And so she wasn't like really, she didn't really push Christianity, but we went to church, not extremely regular, but we did go to church. We practiced the Christian faith, just the common Christian faith.
Hmm.
Um, and so, but I always loved church. Like I always loved church. And so I was the one going to Sunday school. If there was a bus in the community, I was getting on it. I used to live I live in upstate New York right now. And so there was a time that we lived in Nashville, New York. Nashville, Tennessee, excuse me. And there was all these different churches, and so it was funny. At one point we lived next door to a Jehovah Witness church. And I would go there and visit as a little girl. And then one time we lived literally next door to this like Christian, like sanctified church where it was music every day. Drums. They were old tambourines, and you name it. Like it was always music. And I would just go for this. She would let me go to church. And I would just hang out and sing the songs. And, so I was always visiting churches. And then when I came back to live permanently in New York, so I was just going to the church that my grandmother went to. So I would just go to church with her. She just hang out with her growing up through my young teens and whatnot, into my young adulthood. Just I think I was part of the youth choir, like and things like that. But just the regular stuff we do when we grow up in the Black community. And so I just still always love church. Of course, get into your little adult ages, your 20s, and that's how I start, thinking I was grown. And so now I'm doing all kinds of other stuff, right? And every now and then I make it to church on Sunday, like Lord, forgive me for what I did all week, it's that type of thing.
Right.
So that's all I know. You think you're gonna get your sins, forgiven if you go to church. But so I was still going, but not like, I hadn't really was like, okay, this is it, but like I said, always just love church people. I just love the camaraderie. I just love the sisterhood and the brotherhood of church, I think. But when I relocated to another city, actually Rochester, New York. And it was the year the end of 2000, I believe, or 99. It was around that time. Anyway, there was, this was the time when the brother, Amadou Diallo, I believe it was.
Amadou Diallo.
So that case was going. Now, at this time, I'm like 29 years old, very young, relocated to a new city and stuff like that. And so that case was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happened, I remember, like, oh, those officers are going to jail. Like, it's just, they're going to jail. You know what I mean? Because in my mind, with school, they taught us everybody was equal and everything was kumbaya and we have overcome type of thing, So it wasn't even, I never thought for a second that justice wouldn't be served, right? That's just how my mind was.
Right.
And when that verdict came back, I still remember it to this day. I get chills just thinking about it. And I remember sitting in front of the TV, frozen at the verdict, just frozen, like, huh? Like, what is happening here? And so that was kind of my first moment of something's not right.
Right.
Okay,
Right. Yeah.
That was just my first moment of that. And I didn't know what to do with how I was feeling. I didn't know what to do to just feel better. Like, I need answers. Like, how could this happen?
to settle your soul down.
Yes. And it just, yeah. And so, but so that was, kind of my journey, just so spiritually, I was very unease. And the first thing I started to think about, so my husband at the time, I remember asking him, like, what are we gonna do? Like, what do we do? And he's like, I don't know, what are you gonna do? And I remember asking him, hey, is there still that? I remember watching this movie with Malcolm X. Remember Malcolm X movie
with Denzel Washington?
Yes. So that was all I knew of the Nation of Islam. Okay,
really?
So I don't have this history of like, I'm not like a second generation of being in the Nation of Islam. But that was all I thought of. I said, wow. I was like, I said, do they exist? I didn't, and I'm like, I thought that was like just these ancient people, because all I knew of it was the movie.
Why Malcolm got to be ancient? I'm kidding.
That's all. I thought it was this ancient thing. I didn't know what year that took place.
Oh, really? Okay.
So no, the movie. So I was like, because when I remember going to school, I was still in high school when I watched the movie. And I don't think I did the math of like when everything really historically had happened. And so I remember thinking like, wow, I wonder if there's still a Nation of Islam. Man, dang, I've never seen one there. So there must not be one because I hadn't seen anyone. But just long story short, my husband was like, yeah, there's still a Nation of Islam. And I'm like, okay, how do we find them? So he's like, well, I don't know. Usually the brothers are, they're in their community and things like that. We'll just have to try to find them. And so I remember going in the phone book, the yellow pages this was before Google.
Right.
I remember going in the phone book looking for the Nation of Islam. Couldn't find it, of course. Then I remember calling the operator. Remember when you could call the operator, you push 0 and you could tell them who you're looking for?
Operator.
Hi, I'm looking for some. So they didn't know nothing about no Nation of Islam.
Right.
So I'm like, oh wow. So nothing in the phone book. nothing in the operator, that means you can't find it. Like those were the go-to. Those that was Google.
That was it back in the day.
Yeah, that was Google.
Yes,
Back in the day, you know. So I'm just like, wow, you know, this is weird, you know. But anyway, so one day we were driving in the community, and there was a brother on the corner with the Final Call newspaper, and I remember seeing him. I was like, pull over! Oh my God, there's one of those brothers from the movie. Remember the movie?
Right, from the ancient movie.
The ancient movie about this historical time, right?
Right.
And so yeah, I pulled over, and the brother greeted us and invited us to come out. And so yeah, I came out to the local meeting like that Sunday, you know. And as soon as I heard the teachings, I was in love with the teachings. And so yeah, that is the history of how I, you know, was introduced to the teachings, and you know what it was that brought me. You know, it was that injustice, it was the spiritual unrest, you know, for me.
Right.
And then seeking, you know, I needed a brotherhood, I needed a sisterhood, I needed answers of what was going on with those people and us, like what's happening, you know. And so
Right.
coming into the nation and getting the teachings and starting to learn more about really what is really happening, what really they're not teaching us in school and in the church even, you know, about really what we're dealing with. And so yeah, that is how I came to be a registered member of the Nation of Islam, and I am loving it.
So when did you become a member, an official member?
Okay, good question. I would say 2 years later. 2 years
so like
later.
2022. I mean,
yes, 2002.
Okay, so
yeah,
for 20 years.
2002. Now I was still coming out to the meetings and everything, and still reading and studying, but still trying to be in the world. You know, still trying to 1 foot in, 1 foot out type of thing. You know, still trying to have it both ways until, you know, I finally made that decision. Like, okay, I was happier in the nation than I was not in the nation. You know, when I was
Right.
not in the nation, I was never comfortable. I was never really feeling myself. I always felt I was compromising either the language or the conversation or the food, or just everything was always a compromise in the world, you know.
Right.
And so I finally got, you know, the world beat me up enough, you know, and finally God was like, this is where I want you. He's like, that's where I want you to be there. That's where I made you to be, you know. And so I finally, you know, and I made my way back and, well, you know, made my way officially a registered member of the Nation of Islam.
Okay. I wasn't expecting the Malcolm X movie. I was not expecting that. You know, growing up in the Northeast, I grew up in Hartford, and just seeing the Nation of Islam was just like, that was easy. They right there.
Oh, see,
you know?
yeah, no.
And like hip hop had the nation all over the place, you know. So, but anyway, thank you for sharing.
Can I just say, let me just say, so I was living in a small city, almost a town, really. And so not a lot of those influences I was exposed to. Okay.
Right.
So I never seen that. And outside of now, what I did see is a lot of 5% members.
5%.
Okay. So yes. Yeah. So I did see that. That was a lot. I did see a lot of that. But I didn't understand it, you know, and I didn't have anyone to really explain it. You know, I was attracted to it very much, but I just didn't know what it was. And then the music, like you said, I would hear it, and I loved it, but I didn't understand it, you know?
Right.
So yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. I think that's great. We should have a Tuesday talk where we discuss our spiritual journeys. Mm-hmm. So, in reading your bio, so Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches the class?
Okay, he doesn't teach the class. He's the head of the class. Okay. So when I say head, so yeah, he's the head of the class. You know, he is he's over it. You know, he is the head. He's over it. He's the one that's letting us know what the curriculum is going to be. And then we have other people that will put that together, you know. So if he says, okay, it is time for the sisters to learn how to sew, I want them making their, and he did a couple of years ago, we were in a very intensive sewing class. And he gave the instruction that all the sisters, all the registered sisters were to learn how to sew their own garments, you know, our actual official garments. Because he was just like, we cannot just depend on outside clothing to dress us, you know. And so we learned from scratch how to get our own material, how to actually put together, what do you call it? I'm using it. The whole layout, of the pieces of material. Sewing is not. I'm sorry.
To design your outfit.
The pattern.
Oh, right.
So we learned how to actually create a pattern, put a pattern together. We learned how to, sew our headpieces, our tops, our pants, everything. So it was an amazing class because I could not believe you would never be able to tell me that I would be able to sew my own clothes. And so now I know how to make my own clothes, my own tops, my own pants, my own headpieces. And so he gave that instruction. Yes, ma'am.
So with the classes, you learn a lot of life survival skills like sewing.
Yes. Some people refer to it as, like home economics, right? And so that used to be the thing, they took that away from a lot of the schools. We grew up with home economics in school. We learned all that stuff.
What was it about canning that made you say, this is my jam, pardon the pun, that, you wanted to? So before you answer that question, can you give us a little bit of an explanation of how easy or difficult it is to can and what drew you to canning as opposed to some of the other, it seems like life skills classes that are part of the Nation of Islam?
Oh, that's a good question. Good question. Because like I said, sewing, I can do it, but it's not anything that I'm overly passionate about. But I learned, I went through the course. So when it was time, when we took the canning curriculum, it was very extensive. Like it was several months learning this skill. And we had to graduate, through stages. We had to produce a certain food, a certain amount of food, and continue. So, and then we got a certificate when we completed it. But when I was done, honestly, I was exhausted. I was just like, that was a lot. I was like, yeah, I'm done here. I got through the class. What's next? What do you want us to do next, Mr. Farrakhan? But what happened was, to be honest, I did not can much after that. I was really exhausted. I had some health challenges, and so I was just like, I gave it a rest. So what happened is, fast forward, probably 2019, the minister was constantly reminding us to can while we can. We need to be canning. And so we got that reminder every Saturday in our sister's class from the minister, can while you can. And you keep hearing that over and over again. And eventually you find yourself either you're doing it or you're being disobedient, and it will start to affect you. Because, this is our leader. And so it's like he's telling us to do something and you're not doing it. So I was like, why am I not doing this? I need to do this. So I got back into it. But it was a slow process. I wasn't really overjoyed about it. It was just that they kept saying we should be doing it. And so I wanted to get re-inspired. So I started wanted to re-educate myself, more about the skill. And I started like Googling and going to YouTube and things like that. And so the thing that I noticed is there's many people out there doing it. It's a thing. It's a whole world out there of canning and food preservation. Pardon me. But none of them look like me. They don't look like us. Right. And even though they're giving us the information, it just isn't grasping, right? It's not the same. Not the same. One day I came across this YouTube channel, and it's a sister. The channel is called Homestead Heart. And it's a sister on there, and she's living on a homestead. And I was just like, okay, let me see what she's talking about. And I was instantly in love. She has an amazing spirit. She's very upbeat. She's funny and just so informative. And I started binging and watching her videos. And I just fell in love with canning again. And so then one day I said to myself, you know what? I wonder if I felt this way, how many other people felt this way, And so at the time I was in the process of entrepreneurism, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And, my coaches were like, what is it that you do? What are you already doing? What would you do anyway, regardless if you got paid or not? And I remember saying, well, I can, and I homeschool. Like, what is that? Didn't think much of it. And so as time progressed, I was in a class one day with someone and they recognized me. I was doing a Zoom class and they're like, hey, when are you going to start that canning class? And I was like, canning class? And they're like, yeah, we're waiting on you to start that canning class. I'm like, really? Do you think people would pay for that? And they're like, I'll pay
Yeah,
for it, you know?
right.
So
Yes.
I'm just like, so all these little signs were happening, you know? And so I started putting together a course. I put together like an online workshop that I was doing. Didn't really know how it was going to go over. I had always wanted to go do live canning classes, go to people's homes and things like that. But then the pandemic swept them. So
Right.
now we're in 2020. Okay.
Right. Right.
And when that happened, it was like, how is this going to work? And they're like, you can do virtual. I'm like, huh? I didn't know anything about virtual. I didn't know anything about Zoom. I had a Facebook account with about close to 600 friends on there. That was about it. That's all I had. Nothing else,
Right.
you know? And so, yeah, I thought to myself, wow, if I'm feeling like this, then there's got to be others that are feeling like this, you know? And so I took it upon myself to, you know, re-educate myself on the skill, you know, fine tune it, and just, you know, get out there to be a resource for my people in general. So my target audience is those of the Black and brown culture, you know, in inner city individuals.
It's important for our inner city brothers and sisters
Inner
to learn
city,
how to
yes.
can, because there have been, and I'm not going to call it a food desert because deserts happen naturally,
Yeah,
but a food depletion
yeah,
and a design for, like we said earlier, an abundance of unhealthy food or an abundance of expensive food.
right.
That's an abundance of healthy, expensive food to prevent people in our inner cities and lower economic people of all ethnicities to be able to have access to good food. So,
Mhm.
so I know that we had spoken about you showing some things that you do with canning. Did you want to start showing some of that stuff now?
Well, I'll just show a couple examples. So like this is a jar of some mixed peppers that I canned last year, actually, last fall. Um, this is like some salsa, mango salsa I've made. I got some cherries here that I canned.
I have a
I got some.
question. How long does it? How long? Yeah, like whatever you're holding in your hand, from start to finish. How long can you preserve a food product through canning?
So canned food or home canned food is at its best quality within the first 18 months. So like a year and a half.
That's a year and a
Okay.
half. That's good, y'all.
18 months.
Listen,
Now,
y'all.
now that's the quality, best quality. So
Right.
what happens after 18 months?
Right.
Well, it's possible that these beautiful green jalapenos might start to lose their beautiful green color. It's also possible that texture will start to break down, may not be the same texture as they were when they first started. Flavor might start to change a little. And then nutritional value over time will start to, you know, diminish. But
Right.
it does not mean that all of a sudden bacteria jumped into the jar, right?
Right. Right.
So it's amazing because there are people, I haven't gotten there yet, but there are people that have these jarred food items that they've canned years ago, right? The reason I don't have years and years old food because I haven't been canning that long. And I eat it almost as fast as I can it, which is terrible. So I love my canned food. I love it. So like I have a bad habit of eating my canned food.
So here's a question. I think that we should have, and so, and I've thought this since before COVID and before, um, and before the inflation of food prices and just this elevated level of fear that's kind of imposed on all of us. I've thought you should have 3 years of everything you have, everything you use. You should have a stock of 3 years of it.
Yeah.
And then when you buy something new, put it in the back,
Exactly.
and everything is 3 years old. Can you stock up 3 years worth of toilet paper? Yes. 3 years worth of African black soap? Yes. 3 years
Yes.
worth of like ancient grain rice? Yes.
Yes.
And then the things that don't have a natural shelf life, like lentils or beans, then you can can them, or you
Mhm.
can hydrate or freeze or something along those lines
Right.
that you can can them. So now
Right.
I'm hearing that you can can something for a year and a half, and that's just for optimum optimal for it to be at its prime.
Yes.
Color, texture, flavor,
Right.
nutrition, health benefits. You can stock something for a year and a half. I think that's amazing.
It is.
That is so what do you how many cans or do you have on average? And let's say you didn't eat them after you canned them. Okay. You sound like a girl after my own heart. Like I canned it on Monday, I'm gonna eat it on Tuesday. No, but let's say you canned your food and let them stay on for the purpose of storage, right? So you've got like active food that you eat. So
Yep.
like let's say you grow and eat and grow and eat your source of food over here, but you grow and can and grow and can and grow and can your source of food over here. So if you were to do that, how much space and how many cans and what would that process be like? Because my concern is really our brothers and sisters who live in communities that are depleted of resources and space. You know,
Yes.
so that's kind of a long question. I also have I'm doing fine, John Nice, thank you. I also have a question. I am Descenta asked, what makes the process so tiresome? I don't know if that was just the learning process.
Oh.
Is it tiresome? And then the other one is, do you recommend the raw or hot pack method? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah,
Can you
I know what that is.
can you save that question towards the end? Let's dedicate some specific time to that, okay? So basically, how much space would you need? How long would the process take from start to finish? And where are we putting it? Is it on the
Yeah.
walls? Where you putting it under the bed? Okay.
That's an awesome question, and that's one of my top 5 questions
Okay.
that I get usually when I'm doing a presentation. And there is no answer that I can give you, and this is why. So everybody's situation is different. So you may be a single person living in your home. You may have a family.
Right.
Each person has a different diet. You might eat 1 meal a day. The other person is eating 3 meals a day. You may have children. People have special diets, so this person doesn't eat that. Okay. So there's so many dynamics when it comes to how much food. So what I normally tell people is you're going to have to take some time out to do the math of, first of all, how many people are in your home and how many meals a day does everybody eat? Start there. Okay. Then you'll have to do the math on what that's going to look like as far as how many, jars you would have to produce per meal. Okay. Because what's a meal for somebody is not necessarily a meal for the next person. I can eat a bowl of bean soup and, a slice of bread. That's a meal for me. Some people, they need 3-4 sides, and a protein to call that a meal. All right. So if you're trying to can in a sense that we're going to continue eating the way we are today, I want to still eat like I am today, and I want to can enough food to still like I'm eating today. Or you could can in the sense that, okay, I'm going to can enough food to where, I'll be eating a little differently. Maybe I'll just be eating 2 meals a day if the stuff hit the fan. Okay.
Right.
But that's difficult. That's hard to do because, when it hits the fan, you may not be prepared for it. And so then you wind up eating up your food because you're still on a 3 meal a day diet, but you're trying to ration stuff. So now you got to get emotionally and spiritually and physically ready to eat a certain way. So it's kind of hard to say, but you definitely want to assess your personal household, your eating, the way you eat, how much you eat daily, and then do the math per week, and then start coming up with a plan on how much you're going to be canning. Now, the other thing is everybody cans on a different schedule. Everyone's not canning every day. I don't can every day. Maybe somebody does. I don't. So if you're only canning once a week, then, depending on your household, once a week might not cut it. It's just going to take you quite a while before you get to that 3-year mark, right? If you're only canning once a month, every other week, and you're only canning like 12 jars at a time, well, that's going to be a struggle. It's going to take you some time. But if you're really going hard, maybe you got a team, your family's helping out, and you all are pushing out, like you're really coming together, canning together, because it does take time, then maybe you're going to really make some progress. You know, you can get those jars to start stacking up. So it's so personal. It's how much you're going to commit to it and how consistent you're going to be so that you can start to see your pantry start to build. Now, another thing you asked about is storing it. Okay.
Right.
You know, everybody's household is different. You know, you live in an apartment, a house, wherever you live, in a farm. So you want to find a place that is relatively cool and dark, you know, where there's not a lot of light exposure and not too much heat exposure. Okay. So for me, it's typically my basement. You know, it's a, you know, pretty much cool, you know, moderate temperature. Now, only thing about that is there is a lot of light exposure because we're constantly going in the basement. We do laundry and stuff like that. So what I do is I cover my jarred foods with like a tarp or a curtain or a sheet.
Okay. Right.
So everybody's situation is different. Even if you have an extra room, if you've got closet space, if you have beds, you can get a lot of these jars up under your bed, a lot of these jars under there. If you got closet space that you can just tuck away. If you have a spare room, I mean, you got to get creative with it. There's no one place that is like, this is what the designated place should be for storing your jars. There's nothing like that.
Wherever you can store it. So dark.
It's wherever you can store it. You just want to at least try to limit the light exposure because light exposure is just going to hasten the, you know, the quality of your food going down, right? Because the light is going to pull the nutrients. It's going to pull the quality away.
It seems like there's a chemical reaction with the sun, of course. You know, Ra's going to react with light.
Yes.
The sun is going to interact or light.
Interact. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's a question in the chat. If you open up your can you reseal it?
So not for no, you cannot reseal it for long-term storage. So it's literally equal to anything else you would buy in a store that you popped it open. Once it's open, it probably really need to be refrigerated if you don't finish eating all of it. And, you know, it would be normal refrigeration like you would do anything else. So, you know, like your peppers will probably be okay in the refrigerator for a few days, you know. Mm-hmm. If carrots or green beans, same thing like you would treat anything else once that seal is popped.
Okay. Okay. So McDouglas said, does this also apply to greens and vegetables and fruits?
Yep. Oh, wait, what apply?
Oh, yeah, right. Does what apply? I'm assuming he means opening up the can.
Yeah.
That's what
so whatever it is that you pop up, it's just like anything else, like you would get from a grocery store. Once you pop that lid, now it is getting exposed to the natural microorganisms and enzymes that cause food spoilage. So now once this lid has been popped, it's open to food spoilage.
Right. Mm-hmm. So why is canning this way healthier than the cans we can just go to the store and buy cans? So why is this way healthier?
Yes, because, you know, well, sometimes depending on the brand you're using, like I have a can here. All right. And although they try to tell us now that they have a seal on the inside because, you know, these are typically made of aluminum, you know, is not good for us to ingest into our bodies. We want to stay away from aluminum, even our cookware. We want to stay away from aluminum cookware. We want stainless steel if we can get it. But these aluminum cans, you know, if we're eating a lot of food out of these cans, it is going to get into our digestive system, which affects our, you know, the neural system, okay, right. Which leads to all kinds of things, you know, all the way up to, you know, like early Alzheimer's and things like that, neuro issues. And so that's why we want to stay away from anything that has any chance of getting aluminum in our digestive system, in our bloodstream. So that's why we don't want to deal with this.
And also, so I thought you were going to say the salt intake and how that affects blood pressure, but aluminum is a better, it's an additional answer.
It is.
That people don't often think about the actual product, the material that the can is made of and what that is. Because there's nothing that you interact with that isn't interacting with you, period.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Things are two-way streets. It's not just you giving something out or getting something from it without taking the bad that's associated with whatever that particular thing is.
Mm-hmm. But you were right. You were right about the sodium and, when you're canning your own food, another benefit of canning is that you did it. So you're controlling the ingredients. You're controlling the level of salt or sugar or what have you, or any type of foods that you don't agree with. You have full control. You can pronounce everything in this jar. You know, this came from your kitchen, from your hands. You're not going to be struggling like, what is that? I don't know what, I can't even pronounce that, you know? So yeah, you're right on it. You know, it's the health aspect of it.
Right. Having very horrible flashbacks to sophomore year chemistry class. Didn't okay. So McDouglas said the process. I guess he wants to know in canning fruits and vegetables, is it the same process? Now I know that we had spoken before about you showing something from your computer. Did you want to share what was on what you had on your computer? I can add the computer to the screen.
Not yet. Let me answer that question. So
Okay.
they're asking about the process, fruits
Right.
versus vegetables, and that actually is a good question. So, for example, let me see if I have some. So I take these carrots. So we got fruits, we got vegetables. These are cherries, and these are carrots. Okay, cherries are considered what's known as a high acid food. All right, and then these carrots are what's known as a low acid food.
Okay.
So why that is important is there's two methods of canning. There's what's called the water bath canning method, and then there's the pressure canning method. The water bath method is simply like a boiling process, and that's what we use when we're canning high acid foods. Okay, so that's going to be your apples and cherries, and even something that's acidic. You know, that you added, you know, something to bring up the pH level. Okay, the acidity. Now, something that is low acid, like carrots and green beans and potatoes and meats and beans, very low acid. So it has to be canned using a pressure canner. And the reason for that is the heat has to get much, much higher than it would in a water bath canner. Okay, so the water bath canner is only going to reach 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Your pressure canner is going to get to about 240 to 260 degrees Fahrenheit, and that is absolutely mandatory when you're canning low acid foods. So that was a great question. So there are two methods for two different types of foods.
Are all foods broken up into those two categories based on acidity?
Yes, low acid and high acid. And
Okay.
so, yeah, so high acid food is anything that falls on the pH acidity scale at 4.6 and below. A low acid food is anything that falls on the pH acidity scale at 4.6 and above. Okay, and there's a chart that you can there's resources out there that you can utilize until you get familiar with what is what, to know what food is what, so that you know what method you should be using to be safe in canning. Mm-hmm.
Is this a chart that is just general, or did the nation create it?
Oh, this is general. This is general, created by the National Center for Home Food Preservation.
Okay.
And so any official canning recipe book usually will have that chart in it. And the recipes in those books are all tested. So you want to be canning using tested recipes. So I do want to say that for sure. This is not a situation where I just come up with a recipe and I just put it in a jar and I can it. It doesn't work like that.
What do you mean by recipe? Because when we hear recipe, we think we cooking.
Yes. Yeah, we just think cooking. So recipe is a scientific recipe when it comes to canning, which is why you need to have, I don't have one with me right now, which is why you must use an official canning recipe book. And there's many, many out there, okay? And if I do share my screen, I can show you some of them, but you want to use an official canning recipe book because those recipes are all tested. They're going to tell you exactly what size jar to use. They're going to give you the proper measurements. They're going to tell you what method to use, and they're going to give you the specific processing time because everything is different. This might take 10 minutes to process. This might take 20 minutes to process.
Okay.
Okay. So it's a science behind canning.
It's so this is what I'm going to get to some of these questions. I love all these questions. So it sounds like there's math and science to it. The math is what do I eat? How much do I eat? And how am I trying to live now? How am I trying to live later? And then logistically, where am I putting this? That's your math beforehand. And then your
Mhm.
science is, how do I do this?
Yes,
Is this
yes.
low acidic? Is this high acidic? Is it, you said pressure canning or water boiling canning?
Water, it's known as water bath or water boiling. It's typically called water bath, the
Okay.
water bath method, but it's also referred to as the boiling method.
The boiling method. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm about to come up. Sorry. The comments flew up the screen. I'm about to go up through these questions. MC Douglas, I hope that Sister Colette answered your question. So John Nice said, how do you prevent salt and sugar? I'm not sure what that means, John Nice. Can you ask that again?
Mhm.
I don't know what you mean. How do you prevent using salt and sugar? Just ask the question again and I'll read it.
Mhm.
And then we have, do you lose any of the nutrients when you can?
So when it comes to fruits and vegetables and meats and anything really, um, okay, so let's talk about the fruits and vegetables first. So as soon as you pluck something off a tree, it's starting to lose its nutrition, right? It's starting
Right,
to
right.
lose nutrition. And then, the more days that it sits around, it's losing nutrition. This is why it's so important to be active, when food is in season. If you have access to a farmer's market or if you're growing your food, get it when it's in season, get it home and can it. So to talk further about that, the nutritional value, yes, you are going to lose some nutritional value for all of those things that already happened. And then once you start this canning process with the heating, there is a small amount of nutrition that is going to just, somewhat diminish because of the heat and the process of
Right.
canning.
It's the exchange again.
It is. It
Right.
is. That's why you want to move quickly and preserve it where it's at. You want to preserve it, that word preserve. We're preserving the food. We want to preserve it where it's at, because there's still so much nutrition, even though this is no longer on the vine. So much nutrition is still in it,
Right.
and so that's why we want to move quickly. And that's why, I'm really striving to get out here, especially this time of year. It's at upstate New York, a lot of stuff is in season right now. So we don't have stuff all year long. Like some stuff, it's constantly an orange on the tree, So
Girl.
when stuff comes in season, we have to jump on it,
Girl.
and canning is an awesome way to have it all the way through to next season.
So off the dome, I think we should have a field trip of some sort. And we can talk about that off camera. And I bet you're gonna have a whole lot of New Yorkers up in Rochester picking stuff off trees and canning. Like, see all this
Yep.
happening in my head.
Yes.
So we have a multi-part question from Tone. Tone, how you doing? Her question is, do you see this food shortage being severe between now and the next 5 years? Is now a great time to start prepping? I have many canned foods, but I will be checking for 18 months max. What do you mean by you'll be checking for 18 months max? Just put that in the chat. We'll
Yes.
answer the first part of the question. So what do you think? So let's take another step back even farther. What do
Yes.
you think about this food shortage? What is your opinion about any food shortage?
Yes. So what I think about it is that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was divinely guided in giving us the instruction to learn this skill years ago. So I think it was about 2016 maybe that we got that instruction and we got that curriculum and we were in that class. And now we see, fast forward a little bit what we have entered into. But this is something that has already, been on the making and the horizon of famine, and for one reason or another. And so when the minister first introduced, or not introduced, but gave us the instruction to learn this, we were told to can a minimum of 90 days worth of food and household supplies. Well, we all know that is just, the surface of things. That's just like getting started, right? Because I can eat up 90 days of food quick, leave me home. Anybody that was home for the pandemic, y'all know that y'all ate up y'all food, right? But yes, this was, when I'm reflecting, I'm so blessed. I'm just like, wow, I didn't have the foresight to realize how important it was going to be. It just thought like, oh, this is what we're going to be learning, We're learning how to can, okay. But that it was divinely guided to learn that, of what was coming down the line. Shelter in place was a big deal. You know, Everybody some people lost their jobs, there was these food shortages, there was riotings going on, there was a lot that went on during the pandemic that may or may not have prevented you to getting access to food. And so now with the war that is going on in Russia, Ukraine, they are a big source of certain food items that feed the world, actually.
Really?
America is one of them, and in particular, wheat. Wheat is, I think they are our third supplier, if I'm not mistaken, and forgive me for the numbers, but they're like our third supplier of where we get our wheat from. Okay, and so wheat is in all kinds of stuff, right?
Do we need wheat? Wheat makes you bloated. Let's
love
pick it up, y'all.
I,
I'm just saying.
but so for people that eat wheat, your cereals, your grains, your pastas, and things like that, when you think of wheat, you might just think bread, but wheat is so much
Wheat
more
is
than
everything.
that,
Wheat's
right?
a filler. Wheat extends things. It's a filler.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and so for people that, are wheat eaters and dependent upon wheat, or they eat it in a variety of things, that's major. That's major. And with this war, and many of their crops have been affected to where they're not able to produce like they normally produce. We're going to see that trickle down effect. Yeah. Not everybody knows how to bake bread. Everyone has not learned that. And so, I've been trying to get back into my baking bread days, even if you don't want to, you can even buy a bread maker. I went ahead and bought a bread maker for like $120, and you can make a loaf of bread a day, and have your bread for you, your family, or what have you, So, that's pretty major, for us to get back to basics of, learning how to grow our own food and feed ourselves. It's so, so important. But yes, I agree. We are in famine. It is here. It's trickling down here and there. And then one day we're going to look up and be like, oh, shoot, it's real. But the warnings have been out there.
I think that if we take advantage of our space, throw out what we don't need. We don't really need a lot. Throw out and I learned that when I moved to New York. And one of the things I learned, besides falling in love with washing clothes, which I was like, other people will wash your clothes and bring it back to you, because we didn't have that in Connecticut, okay? Like that. New York City will teach you to be efficient, period. If I remember I was a tutor. I remember being late for my class for tutoring. My roommate, I said let's say it was at 4, and it was 3:30. He's like, "You're late. You're an hour late." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "It's only 5 blocks or whatever." He's like, "Just leave because you're already late." And he was right. New York City teaches you how to be efficient. It teaches you what you should and should not do. We're always going to add a 35, 45-minute buffer on a very simple train ride on the metro, because you just never know what's going to happen. If it's late, XYZ, if it's packed, whatever. And when you buy stuff, the question is always, where am I putting this? Like literally, where am I putting this? Is this the front closet? Is this the back closet? Is it under the bed in the shoebox? Is it in this shelf? Do I really need this? Yeah, New York will teach you how to be efficient. It doesn't matter if you're a millionaire. It doesn't matter. How am I efficient with my space and my time? Yeah. So in being efficient, one of the things that's really great, Sister Colette made some really good suggestions. Basically, store it where it's cool and dark, and you can enhance that by having a tarp, right? So let's say you live in New York City, but your homegirl lives an hour away in upstate New York. Let's say she lives in New Rochelle. She lives in Yonkers, whatever. She has a house, all right? Maybe there's space in her home for you to store your cans. And maybe in exchange, you have a balcony and you grow garlic. I don't know, something. But if you know somebody who has lots of space, y'all need to talk. And take control of, first of all, decluttering. Because a lot of us have a bunch of stuff we don't need. New York will teach you that too. Because if you have this much space and not this much space, what you gonna do with that much? You don't need that.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so one suggestion is you find someone who has
Mm-hmm.
uh, space,
That's
and you
right.
guys have a serious conversation about an exchange. You can't just be
Yes.
storing stuff. What are you going to
Yes.
provide for this person?
Mm-hmm.
What's going to make it worth this person's while to give up some space in their home so you can have some stuff that you might need, most likely need in a few years. That's a big commitment. Make it work. You know what I'm saying? You can do that. Maybe you can consider getting something else. Maybe you have
Yes.
a storage unit. Maybe a lot of stuff. Who knows?
Oh
But
my God.
you know what
Yes.
I'm
So
saying?
I did a video a while back. Oh my God. You're saying all the things, you're saying all the right things, sis. I did a video a couple weeks ago saying just that. And the reason that comment, the reason I wanted to address that, because I think it was like maybe about last month, one of our ministers was teaching, about the sisters, no, about the Kentucky, the issue that had happened with the disaster there. And he touched on the fact of, you could see that there were some people that did have this and had that, as far as preparedness, but it was being washed away, in the floods and whatever. And so he talked about the fact of, it's one thing to, be canning and preparing and having emergency supplies and medical supplies, but we have to be aware of how we're storing it, because if something comes through and just wipes it all out, then,
Then you don't have nothing.
So when he did that lecture, it was on NOI.org, and I'm not sure which lecture it was, but it made me to think, okay, I got to take this up a notch for my audience. And I thought about like, okay, so what would I do in that situation? And so I thought about the storage unit. I said, okay, would it be worth it to you to get a $35 a month, a $50 a month storage unit and use that for your storage space? Because they're usually fairly, secure. Now I'm not saying that it won't get destroyed, but usually they're very well, they're pretty sturdy. The ones
Right.
that I see, they're in brick building type deal, so that's one thing. And I said the same thing also, if you know someone that lives somewhere else, that you can have, because maybe you need to flee the area. Maybe it's a situation where you got to get out of Dodge, right? You can't gather up no, 30 days worth of jar. It's not gonna happen, right? So these jarred foods are really for storage. What do you call it? Best for shelter in place type situations. Okay, so there's different types of food preservation. We got jarred food, we got dehydrated food, we got frozen food, and those are for different situations. This is not what I would recommend for an emergency. We got to get the heck out of here real quick. You might be able to grab a couple of these, but that's it. They're heavy, it's glass, it's not the best choice, right? These are for your bunker down situation. For whatever reason, we can't leave the house. Either I'm sick, I've lost my job, there's something going on out in the community, I don't want to leave out of here. Shelter in place, what happened with the pandemic, I've got food to hold me down in the household, right? That's what these are for, okay? But you made a good point. So if I can get some of these somewhere else, and I gotta get out of Dodge for some reason, maybe an hour or two away, that's awesome, right? That is a great idea. And we do it the same, I'm offering something else in exchange. Of course, you want this to be someone, of course, that you trust,
Right.
That goes without saying. We won't even get into that, right?
Right.
But yeah, those excellent tips. Excellent tips.
What I'm coming to understand is a couple things. JB made a very good point. It's funny, we are relearning what our grandparents knew. Peace and power, family. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and what this is doing, I mean, with the current displacement of Africans through colonization, known as gentrification,
Mm.
our connection as a family is more long distance and virtual, and also within our community because it's not
Mhm.
completely displaced. And so what I'm seeing is this overlap of connection. And what I love about us is we put our spiritual path aside. I was chatting with another brother. I'm like, I'm gonna have a guest on my show on Tuesday. We're going to be talking about canning. Have you heard of Sister Colette? He was like, "Yeah, I know her. I know her." And he was like, he thought, he was like, "Yeah, I know the sister." Now he's a Hebrew, I'm a Kemite, and you're in the Nation of Islam, but we all black first,
Okay.
and that's how it has to be, people. And
Say it louder for the people in the back.
that's what I'm saying. People who are regulars on Tuesday Talk hear me say this all the time, and our Christian brothers and sisters.
Yes.
I just didn't happen to have that conversation with a Christian, but one of my best friends, I speak to her all the time. We've been on each other since Spelman, and that's my girl, and she's Christian.
Mm-hmm.
So because we got to put ourselves first, and in putting ourselves first, how do we plan for disasters? How do we plan for emergencies? How do we plan for whatever? How do we plan? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, a spot someplace farther out. A lot of us.
Can I respond to what someone mentioned about our grandparents? And so yes,
Mm-hmm.
so this is and this is so true. Every time people, talk to me, they're like, "Oh, my grandmother used to can." I keep hearing, like, "Oh God, am I old? Like, what's happening here?" So, but anyway, fine. Like, I am a grandparent, so whatever. But anyway, what it made me to think about is, so yes, my mom tells me stories about how her mom canned, and that's all they ate was their canned food. How they rarely ever went to the grocery store. They just canned food. So some people will say, okay, wow, that's what happened then, but it's really only this one gap. So it's really not too much. Some people, I don't want us to think like, oh, our grandmother used to do that. That's just one generational gap. So I'm striving to close that gap because it's not all these generations, like my great grandmother,
The earth is still here. It still got dirt.
It's still got dirt. We can do this. This is not some like, oh, that was just like so. Even if it was, right?
Even if it were, right? Exactly.
Even if it was, right? But it isn't. And so that's what I'm trying to get.
Right.
I'm trying to get this to be a household name again, a household word again, and not thinking of it like this ancient term. It's not an ancient term. It's a thing. It's a real thing that if you choose to do it, you will get great benefit from. And it's really only this one generation, like my mom's generation, who, kind of came into a different reality of being outside the home and now not really being in the home, doing all of these things, growing food and doing these things, they gave us the grocery store. And so, we think we took the grocery store, as progress, when really the grocery store was just like something that you can go to in an emergency. But then it just took over and it became the norm now.
What it is.
Everyone goes to the grocery store. No one's growing their food, So
crazy.
That was a good comment.
I was just thinking when you were talking about how we were not in the home as much as we used to be. I was just thinking we have to make our houses, our homes again. We have to live in our homes. And what we do in our homes, we also eat food in our homes. What if there were like shower houses and shower baths again? And like, you take a shower in your house? That's crazy. My grandparents did that. But what if you got up out the house and went and took a shower and then you came home and then went someplace else and got dressed? That would sound ridiculous. Why? Because you have a house that's your home and you shower in your house and home and you dry off and put clothes on at the house.
Right.
We need to think of what it is that we do in our homes as something that we need to do in our homes.
Yes.
Including growing our food.
Yes.
Now my Tuesday Talks admittedly really kind of address the Northeast because that's where I'm from. That's where the shrine is centered. But also because our growing season is not every day. So really it's more of a latitude. Longitude is up and down. If I'm wrong, let me know. It's really of a latitude in terms of your the growing. There's a number to it. I can't believe I forgot the number, but basically it tells you based upon temperature, the amount of sunlight, moisture, and rain, what you can grow, when you can plant it, and when you can harvest it, and certain ways to accommodate cold temperature, which is what I focus on. I'm sure there are other ways to accommodate something dry and or arid. something really moist, but I focus on the temperature because I live in the Northeast. And so you can grow anything anywhere. I
Mm-hmm.
was following this guy from Minnesota, and he definitely has a like I think it was Wisconsin, but he's definitely got one of those accents. But
Okay.
he was growing ginger in like the brick. It was brick. It was snowing, and I'm like, I know what that feels like. I can tell by how the snow is looking at you. Like what? You know what I'm saying? So he can grow ginger. It is worth your while, family, to learn how to grow wherever you are.
Right.
If you live in an apartment building, if you live with tons of people, you can grow onions, you can grow garlic, you can
Mm-hmm.
grow herbs, you can harvest dandelion, which is good for you.
Yes.
You can grow lemons on a small lemon tree in the house. You can grow limes in a small lime tree in the house. You can get a hydroponics and grow microgreens. You can grow sprouts like alfalfa sprouts. You can grow lettuce. Lettuce is the
Mm.
easiest thing in the world to grow. Kale is super duper easy to grow. So our collard greens. Really and truly, put a seed, put it in the dirt, and cover it up, and come back. And you're
Right.
going
You
to
come back. Right.
you want to water it and stuff. So look into what you can grow that you can also can. Peppers are super easy to grow. And
Yes.
peppers and onions and garlic and mint, which grows wild, are vegetables that do not attract animals.
Mm.
They do not attract
Mm. Mm-hmm.
tomatoes attract animals. Because a couple seasons ago, the little squirrels and chipmunks ate my mama's tomatoes, and she was
Oh my God.
she was like, they can't eat my tomatoes. But peppers, they won't. And peppers are really good for you. So look into
Mm.
it. If you Google what can I grow in the Northeast, and
Yeah.
then you can look into canning those things. You can do a lot more than you probably think that you can.
You know, I love what you said. I love what you said. I never thought that analogy before when you talked about showering outside or even outhouses and all that stuff.
Right.
That was the norm, right? That was just what it was, right? And then it was now everything is in this home.
Right.
And so it's our mindset. We really have to retrain our mindset to think like that, because some people, if you were to say you could grow your lemons in the house, they'd be like, grow a lemon tree like in the house. Come on now, ain't nobody. Even with the shower, if the first person that might have mentioned that, I'm sure they were like, okay, how are we gonna shower inside the house? Like the rain is
Right.
outside,
Right. Right.
the water's outside. How are we gonna do it inside? How's that gonna work? So yeah, so we just gotta. Yeah, I love that. I love that analogy.
Yeah, and we have to just really rethink about what what can we really do? We can do way more than we think.
Mhm.
I mean, and the little house on the prairie mentality coupled with indoor plumbing and electricity can get you
Right.
far in 2022. You know what I
Right.
mean? Facebook user, I want to know who you are. Okay, you said Akamat family. Who are you? But Facebook user asked a good question. Since lemons and key limes are alkaline, are those things that can be canned? Also, you said we can have it for a while. What is the shelf life on canned fresh foods in this way?
Okay, yeah. So we kind of touched on that a little bit as far as the life of jarred food. So it's going to be at its best within the first 18 months. After the first 18 months, it could possibly start to lose color, texture, taste, and some nutrition. But within that first 18 months, it's at its best. Okay. Of course, you always want to make sure that your seal has not come undone. All right, because as long as your seal is intact, then it's intact. Okay. Once the seal comes undone in any kind of way, it is open, is being exposed to spoilage. All right. And and bacteria can't be seen. So we don't want that to happen. That's why whenever you open I don't care if you canned it yesterday, you always want to test your lids and make sure that it's still secure. And then when you pop your lid open, you're going to be hearing that suction release. And that's your indication, okay, that this was a fresh jar of something.
Mm-hmm.
Just like when you buy something in the store, you hear that pop. same exact way with your jarred food. So that was a great question. And yeah, the limes, it's a high acid food, so it can be canned using what's called the water bath method.
Okay, so water bath is for
High
high
acid.
and pressure is for low acidity.
Yes, ma'am, you got it.
Okay, so low acidity is like alkaline. Can we say it that way?
You can say it like that. You can say it like that. So the pH acidity, the acidity in the food, the pH acidity.
Okay.
I don't use the word alkaline, so I don't want to say the wrong. I'm not studied on that word, so it's.
I know that
I
word.
know it does play. It is in there, but I don't know. I don't use that language, but I
Right.
believe it's the same. Yes.
You know, I remember in chemistry class there was it was acid and base and neutral, and so
Mm-hmm.
alkaline was parallel with base with being a base or being basic, and acidic is in the lower the scale is I think 1 to 14 and like 7-ish neutral, 7 something, and
Yeah.
everything above that is a base and everything below that is an acid. And so alkaline is relatively basic. Again, I'm not a doctor and nutritionist.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you just so you know, do your own research when it
Yes.
comes to all of those things. So if someone wants to get started, oh wait, did we answer his question? Lemons and
Yeah.
lime, alkaline. We did.
Yeah.
Oh, there a certain shelf life for lemons and then a certain shelf life for limes.
No, there would be the same. So it's still going to be best quality within 18 months of whatever it is that you canned. And then from there is when you want to, keep an eye on it and start considering maybe eating it.
Okay. Okay, great. So let's say you have a typical family of, let's say, 4, a grown man, a grown woman, and children around 10. Let's just say that. If you want to store stuff for, let's say, 18 months, how much space do you think that takes?
And so again, that we have to assess what the diet is for each person. Okay, so we got 2 adults and we got 2 children.
Let me ask you a question before you go further. Do you can meat or is it just fruits and vegetables?
You can meat.
Yep. Do you can meat?
I don't because I'm not a meat eater.
Okay.
But I do eat fish. I eat it. I'm looking to start canning salmon because I love salmon. Okay. That will probably be the only meat that I can because that's just what I eat.
Okay.
But and I might try to can some chicken. My husband does eat chicken every now and then, so I'm looking into that. But it is possible to do that. I just don't do it.
Okay.
But there are recipes out there, so you want to make sure that you're using an official canning recipe book because it is a scientific recipe that you must go by to make sure that it will be safe for you.
Okay. Now tell us a bit about your canning classes, and can you put in the chat so I can pin it to the page. And family, I really appreciate your questions and your interaction. Please continue to ask any questions that you want to ask. And also, if you could give me your contact information, I can pin that. So family, make sure you take her contact information. Okay.
Let me, so you're talking about like my website and all that stuff?
Your website, for your classes, how people can contact you, your IG, all that.
All right. So also, what I'm going to do.
One piece of contact information that just gives everybody all the rest of your contact.
Right. Yeah. I'm trying to find, here it is. Boom. There we go. All right. So we got here. So that is my actual Linktree link, and that will give you access to pretty much everything that I have to offer. I could try to turn my camera around.
Oh, you put it. Okay. Hold on, let me grab.
Try to share my. Did you want me to try to share my screen really, really quickly?
Yeah, sure. Hold on. Let me get back to the main jammy. My friend, woman who I mentioned earlier, she's from California, and she teases me when I say East Coast things and sound East Coasty.
Yeah, I'm East Coasty too. I'm East Coasty.
So her Linktree is so easy. It's linktr.e/Sister Colette M. So 1 L, 2 T's.
Yeah. Okay, you got it.
And that'll give you all of her info, her classes and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah,
everything.
You can share your screen. Should I add you
I
to the
think you gotta add the
Oh, let
other
me
one because
add
it'll
it.
be from my computer. So let me
All
see.
right, so let me change the layout.
All right.
No, I don't want to be the big one. I'm gonna take myself off,
Okay.
and then you can share your screen because I want your screen to be big. I'm gonna say something. I want to make sure you can hear me. If you can't hear me, I'll come back on. Okay. All right. I'm gonna move myself.
So I'm gonna. Oh, you said if I can't hear you, what? Oh, I didn't hear what she said. Oh no, what did she say? Okay, let me see if this works. It's a little different than what I'm used to. So give me 1 second, people. Can you guys see it? I don't know if you can see it yet. Okay, so she made me big. So now I'm gonna try to share. Can you all see my screen?
Oh, you know what? I've got to come back. I don't think anyone can hear me. I'm gonna make this one the solo layout. There you go. We can see your shared screen, Sister Colette. Not you, but the shared screen. Oh yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Well.
Oh really? Can you see this?
No, it's just blank. Oh wait, there's another one that's coming up. Hold on. I love this part of the show when I have like technical issues.
I apologize.
So,
it's a little different. Are you
all right.
Could try it again.
I have you up here 3 times.
Hmm?
All right. So if you share your screen,
yeah,
I will make that screen big. Whatever screen you share, I'll make it big.
Okay, I'm gonna do it again. I'm clicking share screen. Then it says share screen. And then do I click the entire screen? Is that the one?
Yeah, just click it.
Okay.
Click where it says share. Maybe I have to share it. This is so awful. We sound like
sometimes you have to. Did you give me permission to share?
Let me see.
Sometimes you have to give the person permission. Let me try one more thing. Because I might have clicked the wrong. Okay, share screen. Share screen. Bear with us. Window, Chrome tab. Oh, okay. This might work. Oh, I think I got it. Can you see anything now?
Oh my God. We sound like a really bad commercial. No, it's just this. Do you see the 3 of us? You, me, and the blank screen from you?
Yeah, I don't know. It's okay.
Can you put the link in the chat and then I'll be able to open it? Oh wait, here you are here. Okay, you're there. Okay, now you clicked off of yourself.
Okay, so just put the link. Click on the link. Can you click on the link?
Oh wait, here it is. This is crazy.
Oh,
is this it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, I'm gonna make this the full joint.
So my question is,
there you go.
Actually...
So now whatever you click on in this particular one, we'll see it. So you can click on what you were going to share.
Okay. Let me try it. Okay, are you able to see this?
Is this your link tree?
Yeah, do you see it? Is it moving?
No, it's not.
Oh, man. Well, it's okay. It's all right. Are you able to just click on it? Just you click on it. You do it.
It's if you send it, put that actual link in the chat, and then by putting that link in the chat, I'll be able to click on it on my end, and then it'll be a page I can share.
Yeah, it's in the chat. I put it in there already. You see it in the chat?
Well, your link tree. Oh, you did do that.
Yeah, just click on it, and then you bring it up.
Hold on. You know what I'm gonna do? Wait a minute.
I'll take myself off, so you're not telling me.
I'm gonna do this. So glad I graduated from college. It took me how long? I'm like, how did I get out of high school?
I am so sorry. I should have.
Here we go.
I don't normally.
So now I'm gonna. So which one do you want me to click on?
I'm gonna do stop sharing my screen. All right.
Yes, share your screen.
Are you in the link tree now?
I'm gonna take this one out. I'm gonna remove that one. Okay, boom. So which one do you? I'm in the link tree. I see Canning with Colette website.
Okay, so what you can do if you're able to just show your audience, and then I can just explain each link really quickly, but I don't see it on the screen.
Oh, hold on. Let me do it right quick. Share screen. And then boom, this right here. Wait, hold on. It's not that one. Wait, is it this one? Oh my goodness.
So in my link tree,
Oh, here it is.
You can access pretty much everything that I have to. Oh, boom! Yay! All right, so this is my link tree that pretty much has everything on that I'm doing currently. So this first link right here is the link to my website, and you can read. This link is on all of my social media platforms. So if you're on Facebook or TikTok or anything, I typically have my link tree on those platforms. But anyway, the first link will bring you to my website. All right. But the next link down here is my digital course. If you want to learn and start learning, get a deeper foundational understanding about canning, and it currently includes a free consultation from me. The next link is the Sister by Nature website. So that's just a brand that I created almost 2 years ago in an effort to just, really just encourage sisterhood between women and girls, and so currently I just have the t-shirts and tote bags of the Sister by Nature logo, and so it's just a movement that I'm trying to get going for us to just connect. The next link is how to become a pescatarian. So that's just we touched on that a little bit. So a pescatarian is just a diet that does not include land meat. Okay, but if you would like to eat fish, you're fine to do that. Any type of fish, seafood. So that is just a diet that I'm currently eating right now. And I wrote an ebook on how it's a strategy on how you can do it. Because a lot of us are trying to get meat out of our diet, but we're struggling with that. So I wrote this ebook about 2 years ago. And so that's available. Once you purchase it, you own it. It's yours to keep. The next one, what is that? Can you scroll down a little bit, sis?
Sure.
You can book a consultation with me. Maybe you just want to have a conversation.
Sorry. Get that.
Just gotta roll down. Oh, just scroll it down on the side.
I gotta do it. Hold on, I'm sorry. I gotta do it on this page. Is that good?
Yep, there you go.
Right there.
Yep. So that next link is just if you want to book a consultation with me and maybe just have a one-on-one conversation on how you can get going in your canning journey. You might want to know what equipment to get, questions like we talked about today, have those questions answered. The next link is talking about a Ready Expo. So the weekend of October 7th, I will be in Villa Rica, Georgia, and I'll be part of this big survival readiness expo that is going to be taking place there on the land there. It is a 25-acre land, and it's going to be over 25 presenters there teaching on everything survival readiness. And I'll be there for the entire weekend, and I'll be teaching canning, of course, right? So I'll be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I'm really encouraging people to get their tickets, and if you're going to be in that area. So it's about maybe 45 minutes away from the city of Atlanta. But if you're anywhere in the area, it's definitely going to be worth your while to come and get some of these skills. So go ahead and visit that website. Once you click on it, you'll see more information on how you can learn more about it. The next link is just a link has to do with getting the lids for the canning jars. The link after that, it's a link to a book that I have written a chapter in called Swimming with a Shark. And it's just a testimony of my entrepreneurism. For anybody that maybe is trying to get into entrepreneurism, it might be a little inspiring. The next link is Create Heaven at Home. It's a summer edition. It's a digital magazine. And I did do an article in there. I have some recipes in there, just talking about canning, of course. And then just these other links will just bring you to my different social media platforms. And I think under there, if you scroll down a little bit more, I'm not sure if there's anything left. I think there might be 2 more links left, sis. Let's see. But yeah, you can follow me on TikTok. I have a YouTube channel that's very new. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel and take a look at some of those videos. They might be informative for you. And then there's a link here with Simply Recipes. I recently did an interview with Simply Recipes. So there's an article in their magazine that we did together, and that interview went very well. It's a good read. And then that's pretty much it. Subscribe to Student Prepper. That's just a group that I'm a part of, that we strive to, educate people how to grow their own food, how to, use natural herbs for medicines and things like that. And, of course, I do the preservation piece. And so that's a lot. I didn't want to click on everyone's. But you all, when you get time, click on it yourself and, look through the different things that I'm striving to offer, trying to grow, to, encourage us to learn this skill and preserve food in our homes for these uncertain times that we are in. Because if you go to the market, you see it, and inflation, it's just so much, so that's just what I'm striving to do. I'm just striving to educate and inspire and encourage us in a sisterly way.
That's right. And the reality of it is, we always been living in uncertain times. So in that regard, this ain't nothing new.
Say it.
Straight like that.
Say it.
Say it. And so what we're doing now is returning back to what makes, what's that word? Sense. It makes sense that we're self-sufficient. It makes sense that we educate our own children.
Yes.
It makes sense that we know what food is, what we're putting in our mouths. It makes sense. It's so simple. It's not complicated. And that's why it's easy to do. Easy is not synonymous with unnecessary or bad or cheap.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If this, you know what I'm saying? If this makes sense and it's easy to do, then we need to be doing it. Yes. Like, period. And JB said, Sankofa, I don't know if y'all peep my, I don't know how to show it. I have a tattoo.
I see it. Yeah.
Can you see it? It's hard to show.
I see it.
It's Sankofa.
Yeah, I see it.
It's a cute tattoo. I like it. I hope I like it. It's on my arm. And yes, we have to go back and fetch it. What are we fetching? If we go back, make sure you're looking in the right direction back. Make sure you're looking back at your own people, your own ancestors, your own family, your own culture, and not the colonized version. Okay. Unfortunately, as Black people, we've been colonized by a few different people.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go back to the root and the source and the origin. And Native cultures, not even just Native African cultures, but other Native cultures pretty much did the same thing. And I'm being incredibly general when I say that, not just generalizing African culture, but generalizing other Native cultures, when basically we lived off the land, we lived earth to mouth with our. I was watching this documentary while I was getting my hair twisted, and it's called The Game Changers. And it's a documentary that shows how elite athletes can survive and can thrive eating vegan is the gist.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the things they broke down the science, people's experiences, XYZ. One of the things they discussed was when you have modern doctors who say, which I am not against modern doctors. I want to be very clear. I'm not. Even before I ever heard the word Kemet, I always thought that, for real, medicine was on a spectrum from ancient African medicine to today, and you can pull good things out of all of it. Take the time to use your common sense to see what makes it works.
Yes.
If you have a broken leg, are you going to pray? You're going to get it reset. Have a cast put on it. If you're going to pray, you're crazy. You better get your cast, get that joint, go to the hospital and get your, you know what I'm saying? Okay.
Yes.
But basically, so one of the things that people say that you can't eat just a strictly vegan diet is that you lack vitamin B12. The movie said, now full disclosure, before I usually give information, I have done my own research. I saw this movie yesterday because I got my hair twisted yesterday. And today is Tuesday, so it's Tuesday talk. I have not researched this. However, I'm gonna tell you, because there is enough stuff in that movie that I have researched that I know is true. I'm just saying this one is too. Okay. Vitamin B12 is one of the vitamins that modern medicine says you need it, so you can't get it strictly from a vegan diet. And that you need to eat animals to get it. The reality of it is vitamin B12 is produced by bacteria. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We used to get a little bit of it when there was some remnants of dirt on food and other areas,
Oh,
little
okay.
remnants. And the movie was saying, since things are so sanitized, even animals cannot get enough B12 because some things are sanitized. And so animals take vitamin B12 supplements. Now, I
Mm.
remember my great grandmother in Virginia with the snap peas and helping her take the peas out of the little like shell or hull.
Right.
I remember doing that with my great grandmother. Her name was BB. Everybody called her BB. Everybody called her BB. No matter you call the BB, we all call the BB. And
Mm-hmm.
and I miss my BB. And
Mm-hmm.
um and so we did that. And I remember dirt being on carrots.
Mm.
Dirt.
Mm-hmm.
When you used to get food, you just they pulled it out the ground, put it in something, put it on the shelf. You went to the store and got it, and it had
Right.
dirt on it.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
had to clean your vegetables. It wasn't clean and chopped. You have baby carrots. You've got rainbow carrots. You've got organic carrots. You got lawn carrots. You got swirly carrots. No, you just got carrots. You can do what you want
Right.
with them,
Right.
including not clean them.
Right. Right.
You know, so and there was no term organic because everything was organic, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So I hope that you really take a look at her link at her link tree. Usually I post information. I know I owe y'all information from Dr. Jeffries, and I'm gonna get it. And Sister Colette, I'm sorry for even mentioning that, but I'm on top of stuff, and I'm like, I didn't even post last week's. But this week, you have her link tree. You have Sister Colette's link tree. Please spend some time to go through. How did I not put that up here? Go through her link tree. Go through her link tree. There, she offers a class from scratch beginners
Mm-hmm.
being able to can your own food. I told you this season was about learning stuff. This isn't just about, I'm sorry, applying what you've learned.
Mm.
It's just about learning. We passed that, people. We
Yes.
do stuff. We have to do. We have to do,
Yes.
right?
Yes. The duology. Yes.
Right, the duology of it. We have to do
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go to her link tree, you'll see what you have to do. This was a great introduction. I enjoyed speaking with Sister Colette. I remember our first conversation, that beautiful smile, the screaming beams. And I was like, this is great. This is going to be fun. This is going to be dope. We're going to have a good old time. So
Yes.
rewatch this. All right. Write down your questions. Go to her link tree. And of course, we want to support our black owned businesses and support our Black sisters. But you getting something out of this too. We all have to take responsibility for what we're doing now and what we're doing in the future. Okay?
Yes.
So I hope yes, JB said facts. So I hope I answered all of your questions. If you have any other questions, just hit up Sister Colette in IG. I'm
Yes.
scrolling through the chat right now to make sure James Yehuda said we Black first. That's right.
Yeah, I seen that.
You know we got all the questions. It's really important to make sure we got all of these questions.
Right, it is. And for anyone that may have any additional questions, I do have a question box on my website so that you can, shoot me a question to my email. It's home@canningwithcolette.com. But any of my social media platforms, you can always comment on any of my posts and ask a question. If you're not comfortable with being in the public, you can always DM me. And I try to get back to you within 48 hours. But that's how we learn. There's no, so what if I've heard the question a million times? It's your first time asking it, and I'm happy to answer it. Okay, so I love it. I love it. Okay, so we in this together, and I need you all support, to keep doing this, and when I say support, I'm just talking about, yeah, go sis, you got that, you know what I mean? That type of support, is wonderful. If you see me posting something, you hit a little like button or something, like give me a little smiley face or whatever, it feeds my spirit, because then I realize, okay, somebody's listening, somebody's paying attention. Let me keep going at this.
Yes, that kind of support, yes, but we need to support with some money, like how we do other people.
This is true.
Seriously. Let me just say it.
This is
And,
true.
and the reality of it is, we are in this together, whether people like it or not, whether people want to admit it or not.
Yes, this
Now, I
is
love
true.
it,
This is true.
but some
Yes,
people,
I do need the financial support. Your sister is.
we all do. We all
I'm
do.
trying to keep this business alive, but I want to at least keep the business alive. Profit is one thing, but I want to stay in business of what I'm doing. So I don't want to get, to one day it's like, oh my God, I can't afford to keep the website up. Oh my God, I gotta shut
Right. I
everything
hear you
down.
on that.
So,
Yeah.
but yes, thank you so much, Queen. This has been a blessing. Oh my God, this was so fun. This is so
I
fun. I
know.
love it.
This
I
is
love
fun.
it.
Yes.
And hopefully we can do this again, do a follow-up or something like that. We didn't get a chance to go live, so I got to have you come on to my platform.
Hey,
and we got to go live and we got to chat.
I definitely will. We'll definitely do that.
Good.
And thank you so much to everybody who joined in. Make sure you go to her link tree.
Get your t-shirt. Get your Sister by Nature t-shirt. Go to sisterbynature.com and join the movement of being sisters first. Sisters by Nature.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. And it was a pleasure to have you on as a guest. And it's just as educational and fun as I knew it would be. And I will see you all next Tuesday for another edition of Tuesday Talk. And I really super appreciate everything that you guys do for the show. So goodbye for now. And
peace and blessings to your audience. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching it live or the replay, I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's right. Peace. Mwah.
Peace.